Hello, hello. Welcome to another installment of Cage's Comments. I am Alex Cage. Feeling good today, nice and shaved, got a haircut, tried a new barber. You guys let me know how it looks. Um, it is nice, it is hot. We are in the thick of summer here now in Texas. It will be hot every day. I am happy to not have a full head of hair. So, today we will be talking about the Spurs and upcoming free agency, maybe some potential trades. We saw LaMelo Ball get traded. I talked about that in my last video, as well as the rumors of Kawhi potentially saying that he will only sign an extension with the Raptors or the Spurs if he cannot reach a deal with the Clippers. And the thoughts on him coming back to San Antonio. If you didn't see that, too long, didn't read version of it is, I think he's just using San Antonio and Toronto as potential leverage to try and get the amount of money that he wants. But there is a world where if he were, depending upon what kind of salary he's looking for in that extension, that I don't think it would be crazy, at least basketball wise, to bring him back to San Antonio. You would answer answer really and truly every question that you would have with this Spurs team after the finals. So, but that is not going to be the topic today. The topic today is going to be a look ahead at free agency. We are going to start with the Spurs three-guard problem, and then talk about the rest of the offseason and finding power forward, guys to go after in free agency, guys potentially that you could look at for a trade, and what that may or may not cost. I don't know if I'll do that all in one video. I might make it a two-part and record that tomorrow morning as well. But for today, we're at the very least going to start with the Spurs' three-guard problem and why I think it isn't quite as straightforward as, well, Fox was bad in the finals, Harper and Castle are younger, and so just dump Fox and move on. So, first and foremost, any and all stats in this video, basketball reference or data ball are, unless otherwise referenced. Looking at lineup data that Data Ball R has for the postseason, two-man combinations. Fox and Harper were plus 14 net rating. Castle and Harper were plus 11, and Castle and Fox were plus 7. And as bad as Fox was in the finals, 13 points a game on 39% effective field goal percentage, they lost the minutes he was on the court by 3 for the finals overall. Castle was not amazing. Castle was 15 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, also turned the ball over same amount of times each game as Fox, about 3, but Fox gave you 6 assists as opposed to the 4 in the finals. And his effective field goal percentage was 42%, right? He was minus 21 in his minutes on the floor. So it's not like Castle necessarily covered himself in glory in these finals either. Now, he obviously is younger, and I think he was better throughout the postseason. And I think probably, right, the real key throughout the postseason for the Spurs was one of their 3 guards seemed to show up every single night. You just weren't necessarily sure which of the 3 it was until really and truly it felt like the finals, where it felt like Harper showed up basically every night. So that being said, while you might project growth from Castle, I, for one, am not positive that he has another level to get to. And I think there are some real flaws that he has as a point guard, as a lead guard, which is what he wants to play and made very clear throughout the draft process, that give me hesitation about just turning the keys over to him. And the biggest one is his propensity to turn the ball over. So he this year, when he didn't play with Fox, 12 games, 10 in the regular season, 2 in the postseason. He had 69 turnovers in those 12 games. That's almost 6 a game, 5.75. And if you're sitting here going, well, Alex, those 2 games in the postseason, it was the Thunder. He was really bad. They were extreme outliers, 11 and 9 turnovers. He had 20 turnovers in 2 games. Sure, take those out. Take out those. It's the 10 games in the regular season. It's 49 turnovers. It's 5 a game. And in chronological order, they went like this: 5, 10, 5, 5, 2 turnovers, 2 turnovers, 6, 5, 4, 5. Guys, he had 2 games with less than 4 turnovers when Fox didn't play. It wasn't outliers, bringing the average up. This was basically every game that he was asked to be the true lead guard, point guard for on the floor. He turned the ball over a ton. Now, we still gave you 88 assists in those 12 games, all right? So you still got the playmaking, and that's about 7 a game, which is what he averaged for the year, right? But it came with a ton more turnovers. And I am not positive that that's just going to go away. His handle is not quite as tight as Fox's or Harper's to my eye. I think he also plays a power style of guard where he wants to initiate a ton of contact, and that kind of almost by definition puts the ball in riskier spots because you're getting into the teeth of the defense or the body of a defender. And if you hold position against him correctly, if he doesn't get that advantage, then the ball is at risk. So I'm not positive that you just want to turn the keys over to Castle. And he has made it very clear that he views himself as a point guard and that he wants to play point guard. And when you look at his usage rate in the regular season, because I think the reflexive answer to this is, well, Alex, obviously, you get rid of Fox, Harper's your point guard, and you turn the keys over to him. Sure, except I am, personally, a season ticket holder with the Spurs. And I got a 10-game package, which means I get 1 preseason game, 9 regular season games. So I went to half a dozen of these games. I get to go to a game or 2 a month, basically, during the regular season. And I felt, and I remember talking to one of my buddies after the Houston game in November, that I was more excited about Harper's potential as the guard pairing with Wemby than I was Castle's, because it is very obvious, to me at least, to my eye, that Harper has a better and more natural feel for the game from a point guard in terms of running an offense. But, like I said, Castle wants to be a point guard, made that very clear throughout the draft process. And when you look at his usage rate this year during the regular season, when he was on the floor with Harper, he had 28% usage rate. He was not looking to turn the ball over. He had 24% usage rate during the regular season without Harper on the floor. He was not looking at sharing the ball quite as much. Harper's usage rate with that was 17% when they shared the floor during the regular season. And in the postseason, it was the same thing for Castle, 27% usage with Harper on the floor, 23 without. I'm not so sure that Castle is going to be as willing to share those responsibilities with the guy drafted after him that's younger than him. That, as he is with the vet all-star that the Spurs brought in making $50 million. I am hesitant to believe that that if they got rid of Fox, that if they found a match for his contract or someone willing to take on the contract this offseason, that would just that it wouldn't be a problem. That Fox's turnovers wouldn't be an issue because they would just turn the keys over to Harper more. I'm not so sure Castle would just acquiesce to that. I also don't know that is would necessarily be the best thing in some regards because, and this will get to one of the reasons why I think the Spurs need to keep Fox, is the spacing and the shooting. So neither Castle nor Harper were very willing to take mid-range jump shots. So again, from De La Ball are what they classify as a long mid-range jump shot is anywhere from about 10 to 22 feet. Now that's a fairly large range, but I actually think that that's good for this because it kind of shows what I'm talking about. Over the course of the regular season, Fox took 120 of those shots, made 46% of them. Castle and Harper combined took 90. Right? So 120 from Fox, which is like once a game. Harper and Castle took 90 combined over the course of the regular season, and you saw a very similar trend in the postseason as well. Fox took 25 of them, which again, like once or twice a game. Castle 21, Harper 16. And as far as the percentages, Castle shot 39% on those in the regular season, 33% in the postseason, and Harper was 52% in the regular season and 42% in the postseason. Fox was 46 in the regular season, 40% in the postseason. One of the things that I think the Spurs have to consider and can struggle with at times and can cause the offense to bog down is that while Castle and Fox and Harper, their strength is putting pressure on the defense, getting into the rim, collapsing the defense, they do not stretch the defense out really. And that makes tagging off of them when they don't have the ball more effective on Wemby's rolls. It also means on the ball screens with Wemby, you just go under. And I don't have to go over the ball screen because not only are you not that big of a threat from three, you're not even willing to take the mid-range shots that you would ostensibly have open in that spot. And Fox is the only one was the most willing to take that. And I don't think that the Spurs offense would benefit by just yanking that away without knowing for sure that Castle and Harper are going to be more willing next year to take this. So I am, and from a Harper standpoint, again, I am sold on Harper as I think the only question with Harper is he going to be a Jamal Murray level sidekick to Wemby, or is he going to be a Kobe to Shaq, Wade to LeBron before Wade's knees gave out, Kyrie to LeBron, right? Like that level of, hey man, I might be a perennial All NBA player myself, right? Independent of you, and so pairing us together is what's going to lead to this dynastic run that I certainly hope the Spurs can go on. So I think Harper can certainly improve in that area. I'm not positive that Castle can. His jump shot, it's slow developing. It doesn't look super smooth to me when he's getting into it off the dribble as much. And certainly not off the catch. And he himself is not a good three-point shooter None of them are, which leads me kind of to the next point of what the Spurs should do or will do or have to do next year, which is I don't think they can start all three. 33, 33, and 34% from three for Fox, Castle, and Harper, respectively. Now, Fox made 41% of his corner threes, and Harper made 40% plus on his corner threes as well. So maybe there's a route that this can work, but Castle was in the 30% for his corner threes. And excuse me, I said corner threes right there. I'm sorry, post All-Star break, Castle and Harper shot 41 and 47% from three. If that is real growth and not just 3.5 attempts per game for Castle on that and 2.5 attempts per game for Harper on that, then that could work. But I am not confident that you're going to see that kind of jump. And that's about the only way that I think the 3-guard lineup can work. So what I think the Spurs should do is go to Harper and say, look, we want you to be basically a super sixth man. And the pitch for that, I think, is a few things. One, the starting five is super crowded. If we bring you off the bench when you come into the game, you will be in control. Now, some of that's going to be a coaching thing as well. How much he plays with Castle, and then also maybe making it clear to Castle that when him and Harper are in the game, Harper is the primary ball handler and initiator. But you go to Harper, you say that starting five is going to be crowded between the three of you. We don't want you to just have to stand in the corner. We want the ball in your hands. It'll be much more balanced of a lineup, and our ability to keep attacking and your ability to actually play the way that you can and that we want you to. If we bring you off the bench, we can also spend more time with you as the only point guard on the floor, surrounded by the most shooting. More lineups with you and Vassell, Champagny, and maybe Carter Bryant out there in a new, or the stretch four that we bring in free agency, right? More minutes like that. And then, of course, while we won't start you, we will end games with you and whomever is the hotter hand that night between Fox and Castle, probably with a default. I would imagine to start the year with Fox, but then as the year goes with Castle, or maybe just play the 3 guards at the end of the game as opposed to all the way throughout. And then I show him James Harden in year 3, 17, 4-4 with a true shooting percentage of 60% and 6th man of the year. And I say, we think you can do this. And much like James Harden, we think you have MVP potential. We think you can join the list of guys like him that are 6 men, that are great 6 men, that might win 6th man of the year, and also be an MVP candidate later in their career. And by later, we mean 1 more year before we probably end up offloading Fox. So again, Fox at this point is a very expensive, but I think useful for 1 more year as an insurance policy to just see how Castle's decision-making and jump shooting develop along with Harper's. And then at next offseason, while also hopefully having rebuilt some of his trade value, you can look at moving Fox. But I think his willingness to still shoot the mid-range, or at least more willing than Castle and Harper, provides value on offense. His decision-making provides value on offense, and the ability to have someone that can take the ball out of Castle's hands if he is too reckless with it is valuable to the Spurs. And when you look at their cap sheet, and they're not paying anybody yet, Wimby's extension doesn't kick in until next year. Castle's wouldn't be until the year after that, and Harper and ostensibly Bryant's wouldn't be until the year after that. I don't think it is urgent to just move Fox right now. So one more year of the 3-guard problem, one more year of Harper coming off the bench, but probably playing a super sixth man role where he finishes games even if he doesn't start them, I think is the correct solution for the Spurs here, barring a just home run available trade that somebody offers that is probably unlikely. So with that, I'm going to pause here, grab something to drink, and then, you know what? No, I lied. I'm gonna make the video on the rest of the offseason and how they should fill in that power forward spot tomorrow morning, and I'll post it then. So please like, rate, subscribe. Thank you guys for listening, and I will see you next time.